Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics. I'm Egberto Willies, host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. The show started, believe it or not, got up this morning. I worked out till late. I didn't go to bed till about 3:30. You know, at 2 o'clock, I went and started doing the treadmill. And after getting off of the treadmill for an hour and doing about a whole bunch of sit-ups, I still had about 15, 20 minutes left in me. So I said, let me go ahead and start thinking about the program. And, I thought about the program of what I'm going to talk about today. And it was going to be about, hey, Bruce Pollard, thank you very much for sharing. And yes, folks, like Bruce said, as anybody just starting to listen right now, por favor, please share immediately. Please share the program, whether you're listening to it on YouTube, whether you're listening to it on Twitch, whether you're listening to it on Periscope or on Facebook Live. Please make the first thing that you do to share it. That is how we're going to start making sure that all our people, we enlighten each other together. So anyhow, this morning I woke up, and as I woke up this morning, my wife was sitting down in the living room, and she started talking about things about the government, and she said, the way Trump is doing his things right now, he really allow people to sort of lose hope in government. And what I said is, no, the reality is, government's people. We can't allow for the likes of Donald Trump or all these guys to let people lose faith in government. After all, the idea behind getting folks to lose faith in government is a sinister idea. It's a sinister idea put out there by those for whom believe the government becomes obstructive to them. We cannot allow that to happen. We will not allow that to happen. And henceforth, shows like what we have right now. So folks, bear with us as we get into the program. As I go ahead and start up some of these threads here, we are going to be into the program rather quickly. Anyhow, how are you doing with your coronavirus isolation? Are you bored? Are you going crazy? Is your other half driving you crazy? Oh, don't say that. You may get yourself in trouble. But before we even get started, one of the things that I think all of us should be cognizant of, all of us should be ready to do, is to tell all those workers out there, the ones that many classify as, what do they call them? Essential workers. We owe a whole bunch of gratitude to those people. Folks, if you're just joining us, we just got another big queue in. Please do remember, we need you to share. If we don't start sharing these programs, we will continue to be disenfranchised by those who have other reasons to indoctrinate us. Anyhow, so to the firefighters, to our police persons, the ones that treat everybody with respect, to our grocery store workers, to our garbage people, to our street sweepers, to all these people out there. Personally, I want to give you a big thank you, a big sense of gratitude that we feel towards you. And I think everybody should. You are more important than any stockbroker. You are more important than any investment banker. Because remember, while they are working for themselves, really, you are working for us all. You give those of us who are able to work behind a computer and stay home. You know, they're telling people who want to stay home, you can stay home, you can stay home. You guys are you guys are wonderful. Thank you. For those of you, some of you are going to be listening to this on podcast. We owe you so much. We owe you so much. So thank you. All right, the title of the show today is, and like I said, this one was inspired by the conversation I had with my wife earlier today. Government is not the problem. The portion of the private sector, or the portion of the private sector driven by the financial sector, is the problem. And I am going to go through that in detail after we take a look at some important videos. I see there's a caller on already at 469. 469, if you want to speak, the way we know that you want to speak is that you push the number 1. That's how we know that you want to speak. And we'll get you on when we are confident that you're not just listening, but that you want to speak. So if you want to speak, 469, hit the number 1, and we'll get an indication that you want to speak. Okay, before I get started, I want to set the premise. A lot of people don't believe in government because whenever a certain sect within this country, well, let me go ahead and take the caller, and then we'll go into this because I don't want to be stopping when I start this. So let's go ahead and get the caller. All right, 469, come on in, 469. 469,
hey,
you're
Alberto,
on.
This is Charlie. Finally called in. Hi, Alberto. This is Charlie.
Hey, Charlie, how you doing? Talk to
Can you
me.
hear me? Yeah, sorry. It's been a while since I called in. Just wanted to give people good news. There is some good news out there. Biggest one being that there's a lot of community out there and a lot of people helping people. And I hope that folds into your about good government. That good government comes from good people and communities working together.
Well, Charlie, as you know, what is government? We the people. So we are going to cover a whole lot of that when we
Absolutely.
get started. So you're absolutely right. Go on, my friend.
The other thing I'd like to do is there is so much great humor out there, and I'd just like to mention one article I just saw. Nation's dogs love whatever's going on right now. The nation's dogs are absolutely loving whatever's happening, allowing their most beloved humans to stay at home all the time. Dogs across the country are full of joy as their families are suddenly spending more time with them at home. In related news, cats have never been as pissed off as they are right now. Anyway, I throw some levity at the beginning here.
That is funny. Continue, my brother.
Okay, keep going. Thank you very much for everything you do.
Look, I appreciate
Talk
it. Now,
later.
before you go, Charlie, I understand that you were working with
Sure.
some people in this, some different organizations that are actually doing things like trying to build ventilators and that sort of thing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, there are a lot of programs going on around the country and around the world. I will send you some links, or I think I already have sent you some. But two of my favorites that are local. Number one is the Joann's Fabrics project, and Joann's Fabric is a store chain with sewing stuff, and they have opened all of their stores around the country to give out sewing materials so that people can actually take them home and take home the materials, sew some masks, bring them back to the store, and they will distribute them where they're needed the most.
Excellent.
I thought that was a fantastic example.
I think that's a great idea. And you have another one as well, right?
Yes, the other one that's local, and I'll give you some other references and send it, and so you can put it on your Facebook.
Yeah, what would be a good
Locally
thing,
in
Charlie?
Houston, there's a place called Kicks. Yeah.
Yeah, under,
Okay,
I tell you what, I need to get to another call, but I need you to do me a favor. Under our show on facebook.com/politics done right, why don't you throw a couple of those links in there?
You bet.
All right? Thank you, my brother.
Absolutely.
Thank you for calling in, and you have a great day, buddy.
Thanks for everything you do.
Bye-bye.
You
Okay,
too.
111. Come on in, 111. I think you're a Skype caller. Come on in.
Hello?
Yes, you are on.
Well, I hope y'all know a plumber because this country's going down the drain. All right, we got elderly people getting euthanized by Freemasons. We got Big Pharma putting tracking devices inside of our you know what. Okay, and every day Hillary Clinton's out there taking more lives than Hiroshima. Okay, but meanwhile we got everyday Americans being monitored by the FBI, the CIA, the WNBA, you name it.
No,
Okay?
I know when you call into shows like this.
And meanwhile, Barack Obama. Okay.
Let me ask you something, okay? Most people will just
Sure.
hang the phone up on you. I don't want to do that. I want to ask you a question.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah.
And please, don't give me some sort of a tailored answer or something like that. I want to entertain a conversation. I assume you're an intelligent person. Where do you get your information?
I do research, sir. You know, I find it
I'm
online.
asking you, where do you do your research? I mean, I'd love to know where you do your research.
Well, you know, you don't even need to do too much research. You don't need no fancy high school diploma to figure these things out, all right?
Right.
You don't need a fancy high school diploma to know that we got cell phone towers broadcasting Russian pornography, okay? Meanwhile, we got parents sending their children into transgender bathhouses.
Wow.
Okay, you don't need a fancy high school diploma to figure that out.
Sir, hold on. Because I only have an hour, I can't talk to you now, but I mean, one of these days, right at the end of the show, you should call in, and when I have extra time, I would actually because I would really like to see the psychology that goes on into folks that I hear that come on to stations and say things like that. So if you would allow some time to call me near the end of the show, we can talk about this. Okay, brother?
Well, sure, yeah, that sounds great. I just one more thing, okay?
No.
So someone needs to go by this country.
Nothing else. I'll talk to you later.
Real quick, just one sentence.
All right. Okay, folks. Thank you guys for indulging in that. But what I get when I listen to these guys, right? A lot of folks just dismiss them as nuts. I like to understand how people's minds work. Some people you can't get to or whatever. But some people's minds are genuinely damaged. I mean, a lot of times it comes from a part that something in their lives that have created that, and everybody throws them to the curb. And my thing is, as a humanist, you know, I don't really function like that. I like to see the pathology that's going into people's minds. For the conservatives that call into my show that care so much about the fetus, but somehow don't see how public policy affects living people, I want to see how their pathology works. And a lot of times, I've sat down and really rationalized with these folks and have had change. Most of the times, humans don't have time for other humans. You know, we need to start doing something about that. Anyway, let's get to the program, folks. Let's get to the program. Starting out, here's what we want to do. I want to play something to you to show you that the president's words mean something and can cost people's lives. I want you to listen to this.
Ali, good afternoon. It is the Zandam. That's the name of the ship. And right now there's 1,800 people on board that ship that are waiting to figure out how this is going to play out. All of them, the passengers anyway, quarantined inside of their rooms as testing is administered as they transfer people from one ship to another. There's a sister ship, the Rotterdam, that met them in Panama, and they're in the process right now, according to Holland America, parent company for that cruise ship, of moving healthy people after they've been tested from one ship onto the other. Now, I just spoke with a couple of passengers, Cliff and Doris Colber, who left on March 6th. That's when they boarded in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and they were supposed to end up in Chile, Santiago, Chile, 2 weeks later. And of course, this whole thing erupted since then. What they told me when I spoke with them on the phone was that on March the 4th, the governor of the state, Ron DeSantis, said to Floridians, "You're at low risk. Continue living your lives. Don't disrupt what you're doing." They said that then 2 days later on March 6th, President Trump issued a statement to America saying that this was all going to be under control. They felt that that was strong enough to continue with their plans. They got on the ship, and here they find themselves today. In terms of the number of people that are potentially affected, Ali, we know there's roughly 53 passengers and 80 some odd crew members who have all exhibited some sort of symptoms that have gone to the infirmary on this ship. And the question now becomes, as they try to test as many people as possible throughout this process, How are they going to get the passengers back to Florida? It's supposed to come through the Panama Canal if they can get permission, and then dock in Broward County, which is about 30 or 40 minutes from where we are here in Miami. But the government in Broward County has not signed off on that yet. So you have all of these passengers, Ali, who are wondering what their fate is going to be. And the local government officials right now cannot agree on a plan of action. 4 people have died, as you said, and who knows how many that might be, where that number might rise as the days proceed. A very scary situation.
So as you can see, it is quite evident that people, probably older folk, decided that they wanted to, I mean, they knew they had this trip planned, but, you know, things are going on, so they're listening to what their leaders have to tell them. And their leader told them, folks, if you're just joining us, please remember to share these programs. And their leader told them, it is okay for you to go and visit or do plan. You're at low risk. Do as you please. And that's what they were told. And they did it. And what happened? Now they're stuck on a ship where 4 people have died with the coronavirus. And at the same time, they are looking for a port to dock. Because even the folks in Florida, remember, these ships are not necessarily flagged in the United States. Where are they going to go? If Florida thinks that they're going to be a hindrance to them, Florida may just say, find another port. Kind of bring back what occurred during World War II, right? Anyhow, let's get the program started with what we want to talk about. Government is not the problem. The portion of the private sector driven by the financial sector is. We have bought into the lie that the government is the problem. It is good. It is a good boogeyman. But understand what you mean, because it is that confusion the plutocracy wants. Government is not the problem because you are not the problem. It is important that there are many forces in our country. You need to know there are many forces in our country whose intent is to keep most doubting their own abilities. They want you to question your worth. And in doing so, you sit back and you wait for someone else to determine what is to be placed upon you. They want you to sit back and say, oh my God, what are they going to do for me now? So everybody's been waiting on this stimulus bill. And now it's going to turn out that every American adult's going to get $1,200 and every child $500. And, okay, that's what they decided to give you. I think that adds up to somewhere around $250 billion when it's all said and done. Great, right? It passed. It's official, folks. So your $1,200 is in the mail or will be in the mail or in your account. You sit down and you ask yourself, okay, we got $250 billion for Americans to get, to be able to spend. And then corporations get the rest. It's a $2.2 trillion bill. They have another $200 and something billion in unemployment insurance, right? But the vast majority of all this money went somewhere else because we sit down and we wait to see what is the government going to do for us. And, when we talk about, government is the problem. No. You see, the government has always had the ears of those who provide the necessities to vote them in. Right now, it's the corporations. But anyhow, so what I try to point out to people is that whenever you start thinking about believing that the government is somehow your problem, I want to start by making the financial sector the boogeyman that it needs to be. And how am I going to accomplish that? I want to first let you listen to something from CNBC. When Bill Ackman called into MSNBC, right? And when he called into MSNBC, I want to explain, after I play this video, I want to explain exactly what was occurring here. This is almost oblivious to everybody. To most people, this is oblivious, right? Because most people don't know about the capital markets and that sort of thing. So check this out, and then we'll move on from there.
Bill, I thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Scott.
Number of ideas you put forth. I'm going to read one of them for our viewers to start. Mr. President, the only answer is to shut down the country for the next 30 days and close the borders, you say, Tell all Americans that you are putting us on an extended spring break at home with family, keeping only essential services open. The government pays wages until we reopen. I know from our conversations that you have been worried for some time. How did it manifest today with these tweets and going public?
Beginning in, I don't know, late January, I was getting increasingly bearish, and I woke up with a nightmare. And my nightmare was you have this virus that replicates and infects incredibly rapidly. You know, each person infects 2.5 people, each of whom infect 2.5 people. You know, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 6. 80% occupied to 0. Okay, you're toast. You go down to 50%, you're toast, but you're certainly toast when you go to 0. So he defaults. But now, you know, take a look at Hilton stock. We're a major shareholder of Hilton. Hilton is the canary in the coal mine. This is an incredibly well-capitalized, amazing, dominant global company that actually doesn't own many hotels. It's down from like 120 to 50. Okay, it's going to 0. Okay, along with every other hotel company in the world. You know, Park Hotels.
Hang on just 1 second. You say Hilton is going to 0. I mean.
Oh, no, again, I'm a major shareholder. What I'm saying is, if we allow this to continue the way we allow it to continue, okay, every hotel company in the world, okay, is done, okay, because no business can survive a period of 18 months without revenue, okay, and stick with me, and that's what happens, okay, if you operate the way we're operating now, okay. Now, let me give you, so that's a very, very bearish thought, okay, and I've been super bearish. But I got bullish, okay? And the reason why I got bullish, and I've been aggressively buying stocks, including Hilton, today, okay? And I've been buying all the way down, Hilton, restaurant brands, Starbucks, you know, walk your way through the only stocks I'm not buying are companies who are on the board and I'm restricted. But the reason why is the only answer for the world is to shut the world for 30 days. We're done, okay? And what will happen is, you know, the hotel industry and the restaurant industry will go bankrupt first. Boeing is, you know, on the brink, okay? Boeing will not survive without a government bailout, okay? So look at airline industry, auto industry, restaurant industry, hotel industry. You know, capitalism does not work in an 18-month shutdown. Capitalism can work in a 30-day shutdown. And we got to do the 30-day shutdown. And if the president has to bring out the National Guard to keep people in their homes, which I don't think he will need to do, he should do it.
I want to take the last part first. Capitalism doesn't work in a 18-month shutdown. First of all, in effect, he's saying capitalism doesn't work. In effect, he's saying capitalism needs government socialism to survive. Think about that. Think about all the things that he said. He said Boeing cannot survive this without a bailout. He also says, he gave all this type of information that none of these companies can survive without government. And who is government again? We the people. None of them will survive. And he has come to the part where he said, let's use the military. If people do not do that thing that is necessary to save capitalism, stay your butt homes for 30 days so this can resolve, because capitalism cannot work if for 30 days things doesn't happen, it dies. Wow. Maybe let's go ahead and stay home 2 months, 60 days. Okay. But here's the part that I want to let you guys understand how the stock market works, how the financial sector works. Okay? This is so important. This is so important. Check out what he said. By the way, this guy owns a lot of hotel stocks. The market is going down. He has a lot of weight. His words have a lot of weight because of the massive portfolio that he carries.